In the previous video, we looked at file level restores from the vSphere Data Protection Appliance. In this video, we're going to look at the backup and restore of platform services controllers. In this video, we will look at the scenario that I have in place. I will initially start with a platform services controller that is implemented for pactpub.local SSO domain and also for pactpub-hq site. I will then show you the installation of a second platform services controller into the same SSO domain pactpub.local and for the same site as well, pactpub-hq. After that, I will install a vCenter. I will call it NSX vCenter, and that vCenter will utilize those two platform services controllers that we have implemented. What we will do then is we will create a backup job in the vSphere Data Protection Appliance for the platform services controller number 1, and we will back it up. After it's done, we will then restore it back to that same host. And then we will have to go through a process to restore the platform services controller. Restoration is done from the backup. So this is going to be a pretty comprehensive lab, and I think you will enjoy this. So here we are again at the vSphere web client. We are looking at host 201, which is the second host at headquarters. And in here you can see related objects and virtual machines. I'm running something, a virtual machine called PSC 201-1. This is a standalone platform services controller that I am running here, and the idea is that I will install a second platform services controller for the same domain and for the same site. So this controller you see here, PSC 201-1, is managing the SSO domain called pactpub.local, and the site is the pactpub headquarters. I will now go and install a platform services controller 201-2. So we will have two platform services controller for the same SSO domain, pactpub.local, and for the same site, which is pactpub-hq. Now the idea behind this is to actually prepare to show you backup and recovery of platform service controllers using the vSphere Data Protection Appliance. I will also install a vCenter server on this host 201 that will utilize the services of these two platform service controllers. So I have already mounted the DVD image on my workstation, my laptop, and opened the VCSA-setup, all standard practice for installing the vCenter Server Appliance 6.0. And I am now going to click install. The idea is to install a second platform services controller for the same site and the same SSO domain, pactpub.local. So the IP address of the host is 192.168.0.201. The username is root, and that's the password. Now I'm installing the second platform services controller on the same host. In real life, it would be one cluster. So you would take a cluster and you would implement your platform services controllers with anti-affinity so that they're always running on two different servers within the cluster. Click next. It's going to go through the validation process. And when it comes back, I set up the second platform services controllers. I'll call it PSC-201-2. So this is the second platform services controller on the host 201. The OS password. And I click next. I'm going to install a standalone platform services controller. I key next. I have the option of creating a new SSO domain or to join an existing SSO domain. So I'm going to join an existing SSO domain. And the address of the first platform services controller is 192.168.0.81, and the password for that platform services controller is that. And now it asks me, do I want to join an existing site or I want to create a new site? I want to join an existing site, and I choose the site name PactPub headquarters, and I click next. I'm going to install a small platform services controller. I don't have that many VMs. Enable thin disk mode. Pick up this data store. Click next. And now I have to enter network settings, static. The network address of my second platform services controller is 192.168.0.82. I'm going to give it the same name, 192.168.0.82. The subnet mask is 255.255.255.0. My network gateway is 192.168.0.1, and my DNS servers are 192.168.0.1, 192.168.0.222, and this one. I will use NTP servers, 2.us.pool.ntp.org, and I'll put in a second one as well, 3.us.pool.ntp.org. And I always like to enable secure shell, although this can be done afterwards as well, but much easier right now. Click next. It's just a warning. We click next. So I'm installing a second deployment type is a platform services controller. Thin disk. The name is PSC201-2. The same server. In real life, like I said, you'll install it on a cluster, and then it would be there would be an anti-affinity between the two virtual machine setups. They always run on different servers if at all possible. And the address is very critical. My single sign-on instance is 81. And the address of this instance is 82. Okay, I click finish, and it's going to take some time. So it started the process of downloading and deploying the appliance, and we will wait until it finishes. So the installation is now complete. Our platform services controller is installed. It has the IP address of 192.168.0.82. So when we go back into the vSphere web client and look at the virtual machines running on host 201, we see that they're running platform services controller number 1 and platform services controller number 2. The next step would be to optionally install a vCenter server and then test the backups. We'll see how it goes. So we are now in our vSphere web client, and this is the management vCenter at headquarters. Its address is 220. On one of the servers that it manages, I have installed another vCenter. Now this is common practice when you're implementing the VMware network virtualization platform called NSX or vCloud Director and so on. It's outside the scope of this course to go more in depth about it, but I encourage you to take a look at the VMware documentation to understand this concept. This vCenter has an external platform services controller, PSC201-1, and a second platform services controller 201-2 is also installed. Now the way it works is, and I will actually show you very soon, because we will log into the NSX vCenter. The way it works is that in version 6 of vSphere, you can have multiple platform controllers which manage multiple sites as well. So for our purposes, I've installed two external platform services controllers. Their addresses are 81 and 82, 192.168.0.81 and 0.82, and they have the site name as PactPub headquarters, and they're managing a domain called pactpub.local, which is completely separate from the site.local. Again, the idea is this is where I would install NSX and have this NSX vCenter manage the NSX deployment. Okay, so now let's go into the NSX vCenter, which is at address .224 in my network. This is 192.168.0.224. As you can see, there is nothing running as yet in this vCenter. It's running version 6.0.0, and there are some interesting things that can be done, but not entirely completely, but still, and I don't want to spend too much time on that, but essentially that there are some new ways of managing the platform services controller, not through the command line interface only, but actually from a graphical user interface. So for those of you that are interested, I will quickly show you that you now have the ability to actually log in into a platform services controller directly. So I told you that my platform services controller was 0.81 and 82, so 81 and 82. So I'm logged in actually into one of my platform services controller, and you specify the IP address and /PSC for platform services controller, and you come to this environment. The key obviously is that apart from managing users and groups and the configuration of your system, which was available directly under vCenter as well, you now have the ability to directly manage your certificate stores, certificate authorities, certificate management, and so on. And this is obviously very useful. Okay, we're going to go back to this because we don't want to stray too far from what we are looking to do. So what we have here again, just to reiterate the point, is that the NSX vCenter is using two platform services controllers, and these platform services controller are in the domain pactpub.local. So we'll go back to the NSX vCenter, that is 224, and we can see that the SSO domain is pactpub.local. Okay, now what I want to do is to actually show you how I would initiate a backup of the platform services controller. I am now going to log in into the command line of my vCenter. So I've done a secure shell login into 192.168.0.224. That is the NSX vCenter. We'll log in as root and VM and my password. So the key thing to look at here is that the type is a vCenter server. So it has an external platform services controller. So that's what I had explained earlier when we looked at it from the graphical user interface. What we need to do now is to actually get into the shell. So a few commands are necessary before that. As you can see, shell.set -- enabled TRUE, and then I enter shell. So I'm now in the shell. I'm going to have to do clear quite a bit simply because of the resolution that I have to work with here. Now, what we have is the vCenter server, and it is connected to two external platform service controllers. But really, my understanding is that in vSphere 6, those two platform service controllers actually work in active-passive mode. So while they replicate information between themselves using the VMDir service, they only one of them is active at any one point in time. Now, the reason I'm emphasizing this in a vSphere data protection appliance demonstration is that I plan on shutting down one of the platform services well, I'll back it up first, and then I'll either shut it down or I will delete it, and then I'll restore back, so that you are able to look at the entire process for managing a platform services controller environment. Obviously, this will work with only external platform services controllers. There are other steps that are possible. You can actually start with the vCenter that has an embedded platform services controller, and then you can move away from that to external platform services controllers as well by using a reconfiguration process. Anyway, the command that I need to use is cmsso-util. Now I'll just hit the enter key here because that'll give us the error of too few arguments, and the -h gives us the help. What we are looking to do here is to repoint. So our vCenter server is currently pointing to one platform services controller. So it'll repoint a vCenter with an external platform services controller to the provided external PSC node. Okay, so let's go through the syntax again here. It's cmsso-util, and that'll be repoint. And when I hit the enter key again, you will see that it says that I need to specify the --repoint PSC argument. And so what I will do is repoint --repoint -PSC, and I will repoint it to 192.168.0.82 platform services controller, and you will see that this vCenter is already connected to this platform services controller, and that's the message that we get, that the provided platform services controller 192.168 is already the current active PSC of this vCenter server. So if I needed to back up 192.168.0.82 platform services controller, I need to repoint this vCenter server to 192.168.0.82. However, what this tells me is that I could back up 192.168.0.81 now, and then I can restore it later on, and then make sure that it synchronizes its data with 192.168.0.82 after it is restored from backup. And that is the process that we are going to follow. So the next step would be to back up 192.168.0.81, because that is right now the passive platform services controller. And what we can do is to use our vSphere data protection appliance, create a backup job for that, and back it up. And that is the plan. So we are back now in our vSphere data protection appliance. This is our backup job for the platform services controller. First one, which is address 81, that is in passive mode at this point in time, although it is synchronizing because of the VMDIR services running between the platform services controller. So we are going to back this up, and I am going to select this backup job, and I'm going to click on backup right now, backup all the sources, which basically means everything that is there. And we will wait for this to back up before we proceed with our restoration, and then the process that we need to go through inside that platform services controller after it has been restored to make sure that it joins the other servers that it works with. So coming back to the vSphere web client and looking at the vSphere data protection restore, we see that the platform services controller has been backed up. Now what I would like to do is to go back to our vCenter 224, which is being served by these platform services controller. Now the actual platform services controller that is active is .82. So what I am going to do is to go to our vCenter inventory list on the other one here, and this is our main vCenter. I'm going to look at the vCenter lists. We can just do it this way. Look at the vCenter lists and look at vCenter servers, and go to related objects for that and look at the virtual machines. So we have the two platform services controllers and the NSX vCenter operational. We just backed up PSC-201-1. So what I'm going to do now is to power it off. It's now powered off, and what I am going to do is to go back to the data protection and go back to restore, select our PSC, the one backup that's been done, and click on restore. And we are going to restore back to the original location. So everything else will basically stay the same. And we are going to also power it on. And we will reconnect the NIC. I click on next. One virtual machine will be restored, and the key here is the restore parameters will result in the following virtual machines being overwritten. So we're going to restore from backup. That's exactly what we're looking for. And the restore was successfully initiated. Once the machine is restored and powered up, we will come back to the video. So we are here in the classic vSphere client. I'm logged in directly to the 201 server, this one. And as you can see, the virtual machines that are running there are the NSX vCenter and its two associated platform services controllers. Now, remember, we had restored PSC 201-1, and we had, before doing that, connected NSX vCenter, or rather repointed NSX vCenter to PSC 201.2, where it is currently connected. So the situation we have right now is that the backup, or rather the backed up platform services controller 201-1 has been restored, and we will now look to see how we can reconnect it back into the cluster. Let's take a different view into this environment. We are now in the familiar vSphere web client. We are in the administration section of the NSX vCenter, which is 192.168.0.224, and in system configuration you can see that there are 3 nodes that this vCenter knows of. So the 3 nodes are itself 192.168.0.224 and the platform services controllers at .81 address and the .82 address. So looking at it from that perspective, you can see that we have a green badge for health for the vCenter itself. It does not know what the health is of the platform services controller at 81 because we have just recovered it. And when I click on, or rather when you look at 192.168.0.82, you can see it has a good badge as well, because before doing the backup we had repointed the vCenter, NSX vCenter, over to this platform services controller. Clicking on this, you can see the key here is that you're unable to establish connection to the node, and so the information about it is completely unknown. When I click on monitor for that, you can see that the real reason is the appliance management service on the node is not running because we have recovered it. To contrast this with the other platform services controller, which is active at this point in time, when I click on that and look to monitor it, you get all kinds of detailed information about networking, storage, memory, CPU usage, and so on. So what we have to do now is that, having restored from backup the 192.168.0.81 platform services controller, we now need to make it operational, and that is the process we're going to do next. I'm now logged into 192.168.0.81, which is the platform services controller that we have restored from backup. Actually, the login process will start right now. Login as root, and this is the VMware platform services controller. Type password. We have a message here, error connecting to server. That's to be expected. The command to move forward and bring it back online, so to speak, and connect it to the rest of the federation is psc restore. And I have to enter the admin username and the password. And you can see it's now stopping all services and so on, and syncing the metadata, and we will just follow this process. This is key. The VMDir service is the one that actually does the federation. You can see it's checking to see if a replication partner exists. It's now syncing with that replication partner, and it's starting the remaining services. So the process took about 2 minutes. Let's see what messages we got here. So it first stopped any service that was operational, synchronized metadata, and these are the VMDir service is basically the service. It's the multi-site and multi-domain directory service. So it checked to see if a replication partner exists. Obviously it does. That's the platform services controller at .82. It synchronized with the replication partner and then started the services and was able to successfully start all the services, and the restore is now complete. So now when we go back into the vSphere web client for vCenter server 224, the NSX vCenter, we can look at related objects. It's going to look at services first. We are more interested in the nodes. Let's click on nodes. You can see that all 3 nodes are now up and running, including 192.168.0.81, which we just recovered. So the psc-restore script basically has to be run. 82 is in good shape as well. 81, 24. We look at 81 and look at it from the monitor perspective. Yep, we are now getting I/O and networking I/O, and we have information about storage, memory, and CPU, all the things that we were missing before. In the next video, we will look at the vSphere Data Protection Appliance command line interface. It really comes in handy when vCenter is not operational, to be able to go in there, do emergency restores, so that the entire environment can be brought up to speed. I look forward to seeing you on that video.